and me come together.
Oh yeah. Ooh, yeah.
Come together.
Ooh, come together.
You and me come together right now. There's joy in unity.
Hello, I'm Lloydetta Quaco, and welcome to Sharing Our Cultures. Joining me in conversation today is Jumi Odomusu, and she is a counseling psychology candidate as well as a human resources professional, and she'll be sharing with us all about her experiences and the places she's traveled and how she's adjusted to life in Newfoundland and Labrador. Welcome back to Sharing Our Cultures. And joining me in conversation now is Jumi Odumosu. Welcome to Sharing Our Cultures.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm so glad that you're here. And I know you've been doing a lot of things. But before we get into all of that, I'd like to start off by getting to know you a little bit. And just wondering why you chose to come to Newfoundland and Labrador.
All right. I didn't choose to come to Newfoundland and Labrador. I followed a man.
Okay.
Yes, I followed my husband. He got a job opportunity at Burin Peninsula Healthcare Center. So I traveled across the country with him. And I guess that's the proof that marriage has some unexpected travel perks. So I'm here in Newfoundland and Labrador. When he first told us that we're going to come to the province, I knew nothing about Newfoundland and Labrador. I had to go and check the map to double check that he's still in, he's still in Canada. So I didn't choose to come to Newfoundland and Labrador. My husband did, and I'm here.
Oh, good, and I'm glad you are.
Thank you.
Now, people usually say that first impression goes a long way. So what was your experience when you first arrived here?
When I first arrived, I think it was a mixture of sadness and excitement. Well, excitement because I wanted to move closer home. We moved from New Zealand, and it was far away from my family. So coming to, I was excited I was coming to Canada, but I wasn't excited I was going to a rural area like Burin. So I remember when we first came, I was so sad. Driving into Burin, you know, the sky was gray. There was no one on the street, and I was thinking, what in the world are we doing? What are we doing here? Yeah, so that was my experience. And I was sad because I'd lived in a rural area, and I didn't want to live in a rural area any longer. So that was my experience coming in. But the good thing was, the good thing then was, having lived in a rural area in New Zealand helped me to transition better when I moved to Burin, because I now had coping mechanisms. Yeah.
Because I was going to say, how was your experience when you arrived here in Burin compared to the other places where you've lived?
Okay. Yeah, like I said, we moved from, I was born and raised in Nigeria. And so I moved to New York, followed a man, again. And from there, we moved to New Zealand. So my experience in Burin compared to when I was in New Zealand, I could compare some areas. Because in New Zealand, when we first arrived, I lived in a rural area. It's called Balclutha. So in terms of population, it was quite similar to Burin, because it was just about 3,000 people or less. So then you can compare that in size and all that. But in saying that, I'd lived in bigger cities in New Zealand. So I didn't want to, I'd enjoyed living in the city. Then coming back to a rural area was quite of an adjustment for me. So in terms of comparison, there were some similarities, and there were so many differences in terms of comparing the two. And even New York was quite different because with New York, there was the diversity. And so every part had different things to play in my life. So yeah, the good, the bad, but in all, I've had an enriching life, you know, by being in those places.
So when you think about your cultural experiences and cultural differences, you've lived in these different places.
Yeah.
Now, what has had the biggest impact on you?
Okay, I feel like, well, first of all, like I said, I grew up in Nigeria, so that's more of a collectivist culture where there's this communal thing going on together. You always had maybe a cousin living with you or an aunt, or if you needed help with anything, you know, you always got that. When I moved to New York, of course, New York is an individualistic, has an individualistic culture. People just did their thing, everybody's busy. New York is the city that never sleeps. And, but what helped in New York was the fact that there's a lot of diversity. So I could blend in easily into the system because I had pockets of community that I could connect with in New York. So even though it's an individualistic culture, because of the diversity, I could still, you know, function well. Then I moved to New Zealand, and that was when the isolation saga began. An individualistic culture with no diversity, or little or no diversity, at least when I was there. So it was really difficult to integrate into the system. But one thing in New Zealand that really had an impact on me is learning about the simplicity of life. You know, I learned that life can be simple. I learned that you can actually enjoy yourself. And again, in New Zealand, I discovered the adventurous side of me. You know, I didn't know what to do. I had to be creative. So one of the things I did then was to paraglide. I don't know if my parents are watching, but
Did she do that?
Did she do that? I didn't send them pictures. Anyway, no. And that was when I started enjoying traveling because there was really nothing much to do. I would take out the map of New Zealand, you know, South Island, North Island. We lived in both islands, and I would just take the kids for like a week, you know, and that was when I started exploring. Just because I didn't know what else to do, you know. Then now coming to Canada, I've learned so many things, and the culture here has had an impact on me. As much as it's an individualistic culture, there's a lot of diversity as well. So I see people that look like me, I hear familiar accent, and the community is so strong here. So it feels like I'm back at home. So for Canada as well, you know, I've had so many opportunities. I've grown in the last 5 years that we got here 2018, you know, that's about 7 years now, about 6.5 years. And I've achieved a whole lot more than I did when I was in New Zealand and New York, even though I didn't stay for too long in New York. Yeah, so like I said earlier, has had an impact on me in different ways, right?
And so what was it like then in Burin? Because that was a rural community.
Yes.
As well.
Like I said, initially I felt isolated, but I had to tell myself, you know, you've lived in this kind of environment before. What can you do? So I started exploring as well. Then I picked up painting. I didn't know, I knew I was creative, but I got an art teacher who taught me how to paint and did a lot of oil painting and all that. So, and with Burin, we had few African families, and that really helped too. You know, we had about 5 families that would just, you know, gather together, have a meal together, and we had some Indian friends, you know, so there was still a bit of a community. You know, but initially it was, you know, I didn't like the idea that I had to live in a rural area. And the people there are really very lovely, friendly people in Burin. So that really helped too.
All right. So then you stayed in Burin, and where did you go after Burin?
Yes, after Burin, came to St. John's.
Okay.
Yeah. I was like, okay, this is more like one. So I like it in St. John's because it's not too big, it's not too small. Everything I want is here. The community is beautiful. So from Buren, we came to St. John's. So that has really helped.
So of course that being a larger city
Yes.
than where you went. Buren.
Yeah, larger city, and the fact that you have it's not too busy for me. So it's not like New York City, and it's not like Buren. So like I feel like it's just in between, and I can just enjoy life.
Right,
Yeah.
that's good. And so what about your community? You mentioned you're from Nigeria.
Yes.
And so what about the community here in St. John's? Did you feel that you had that sort of community support and interaction so it avoids the social isolation there?
Yes. So, and like I said, the community is strong. And for me, the community is my church. So I have people that look like me. You turn to the left, somebody is speaking my language, turn to the right, you know. And so that's the kind of community I have. Then I volunteer with MWNL, Multicultural Women's Organization of Newfoundland. So we have immigrant women that come in. So you know, it's just everywhere. Like, so I don't feel isolated. There are times I really have to withdraw as well. Like, I have so many, I just switch my phone off and I'm like, oh, enough, you know, nobody's visiting me. Yeah, so I feel like, the community is there, is strong, and it's beautiful.
So when you want that interaction, you have it.
Yes.
When you want some time to yourself,
I run away. I just hide in my house.
you ride away. And so what has it then been for, because your husband is working here, and you
Yes.
mentioned your children
Yes.
are here as well. But we'll get an opportunity to talk a little bit more about what you've been doing. So
Right.
we'll take a short break.
All right.
And when we come back, we'll talk about your training in human resources
Okay.
and your new career.
newfound
your newfound career.
career.
Your newfound career in Newfoundland.
In Newfoundland,
isn't
yeah, that
That's-
sounds cool.
That sounds really
Yeah,
good. So we'll be back to talk about that.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. And Sharing Our Cultures will be right back. Don't go away. There's more to know about Jumi.
Your opinion matters, and we want to hear from you. Get in touch with us using our viewer feedback line, your direct connection to shaping the shows you love. It's easy. Just grab your phone, scan the QR code on your screen, and take our quick survey. Share your thoughts, and let's make your viewing experience even better. At Rogers TV, we know our community thrives because of the incredible people who support it. Today, we want to extend a heartfelt thank you to all our amazing volunteers. Your hard work, dedication, and passion make our productions possible, bringing local stories and events to life for everyone to enjoy. Whether you're behind the camera, in the control room, or helping at events, your contributions are invaluable.
You're watching Rogers TV St. John's.
Welcome back to Sharing Our Cultures, and we're continuing our conversation with Jumi. Now we'd like to know, well, you're a human resources professional, right? So how did your background training prepare you for that career?
Well, yeah, I'll say my background in HR has given me a solid foundation for where I'm headed. So with HR, I've always been passionate about human resources. I lived it, I breathed HR, and because of that, I've always kept my certification current. Even though my career path has been, my career trajectory has been quite an interesting one, but at the background, I always did HR, you know. I started my professional career in 2002, and I've done all sorts in between. I've volunteered, I've not worked, you know, like I'm just all over. But even with volunteering, I've always done HR. So I think with HR, for me, I can transfer the skills to counseling. So I have transferable skills like active listening, conflict resolution, dealing with people, dealing with people, you know. So I know that all these things are gonna help me and has given me a solid foundation to my new career. as it
Okay.
were. Yeah.
All right, we're going to talk about the new career shortly, but I know you love dealing with people,
Yeah.
I can tell. But how did you train? So if someone's thinking about human resources, how did you train for that? Like, what was your
Okay, so
education background?
I didn't go to school to study HR.
Okay.
Yeah, so I just picked an interest in it. I was working in the bank back in Nigeria, and there was an opportunity. I'd done customer service and all that, and there was an opportunity for me to be in HR, but learning and development. So it was when I started with learning and development, I just picked an interest in HR, you know. So so for me, I just thought of how then do I develop myself. So when I went to the US, I decided to get certified. I got my HR certification in 2009, and I've always pre-certified to keep current. So that was the interest for me. So I had to write the exam to be a professional HR, passed, and since then I've been recertifying. So I didn't go to school. I studied English language in my first degree, so I didn't go to school to study HR. Then I went to school in New York for, I think, a certificate program in HR as well, just to develop the skills and all that are needed for HR. And since then, I've just kept current, you know, with human resources.
Okay, so now you've switched careers, and you're a counseling psychology candidate. Tell us why you decided on that, and what's that journey like for you?
Yeah, I won't say that I've switched careers. I've just been thinking about it lately. I feel like I said, my skills are going to help in counseling. And I was actually thinking, okay, I can actually integrate HR and counseling at some point, right? You know, maybe do workplace counseling. That's an option. Like I said, I've always dealt with people. So for me, it's always about supporting people. And so HR is about people. Yeah, of course, there's the technical, administrative part of it. So how did I make that decision? You know, I've always had this, over the years, people talk to me naturally, confide in me, you know, they just find me approachable, you know, so I see that as a God-given gift, you know, when I meet somebody for the first time and they're just sharing their life with me. So there was this moment of, okay, I can actually go for a program in this. So that was what started, you know, I've always had the desire to connect with people. And so knowing that there is a field that I could go into and be properly trained, that was the first step for me. And there was someone that really encouraged me to do it. Then my sister too did it, my elder sister, and it's like, okay, yes. So that actually started the process for me. Yeah.
So everything was almost kind of in place. You felt that that's where you were drawn towards?
It just felt natural. It just felt like the natural next step to take, you know, after doing HR. And like I said, right now it doesn't feel like I'm going to abandon HR. I'm still going to use the skills, HR skills. But it just felt like the natural next step to be able to help people, support people, and just have an impact in the lives of people.
Okay, and you've been having an impact in the lives of people
thank you.
ever since, and you know, we really have appreciated you in the community. Just
Thank
to
you.
give people that listening ear
Thank you.
is really important. And so when you thought about moving in that direction, then how did you decide where you will get your counseling psychology training? How did you come with that decision?
Okay, with that decision, it was quite easy because at the time when I first of all found out we're in Buren, and I couldn't be traveling to St. John's for classes, right? And I think there was a break, there was a gap then where there was the program wasn't, I don't know what happened, but I think it was on hold for a year or two or something. So the next option was to look for one that I could do online. And like I said, someone had told me about it, and she did it remotely, and Yorkville University just gave me that flexibility. So when I was in Buren, I couldn't do it because I knew I had to do my practicum, and it was going to be challenging getting a supervisor in Buren, so I had to put that on hold till I moved to St. John's. So that decision was quite easy because that was about the only university I knew then. I don't know if there are other, I'm sure there will be other universities. And because somebody had gone through that, and you know, it just felt like, you know, let's do this, and it just felt right with me that I could do it with Yorkville University. And it's been going really great with the university.
Okay. Everything fell into place
Yes.
for you there, and you're enjoying the courses.
I love the courses. Yes, I love the courses.
Yeah. Well, that's one good thing. If you're loving the courses, then they just confirm that this is where you need to
Yes,
be, and this is where you're going to find the fulfillment that you want, at least in this part of your life,
Yes.
at this time of your life. Yeah. Okay, so that's good. Now you've lived in so many different places,
Right.
and you're now here. So what would be your advice or some suggestion to someone who wants to come here and live here, or live, you know, in a rural community like Buren?
Oh, well, like Buren, wow. Well, one thing I would say to people, there are always opportunities out there. It might seem challenging at first. It might seem like, oh, what am I doing here? But if you look close enough, there are opportunities. Then I tell people, explore. You know, if you're coming to a new country, a new culture, try as much as possible to integrate into that culture. Know the cultural values, know the norms, and just explore as much as you can, intentionally. Then I tell people again, that doesn't mean you need to drop your home culture. You know, I found out that with people, when they you know, some people just completely drop where they're coming from, then they try to integrate, but they're not, there's no balance. So I tell people, you know, you need to find a balance. Don't drop your culture. Like for me, I still, like you see, I'm dressing in my, the way Yorubas do dress. I still have a traditional meals. My children still do. We still greet the Yoruba way. When we see an elderly person, my children do too. So don't drop your culture, but as much as possible, explore and integrate, you know, in the new culture. Be adventurous, be open, be flexible. Yeah. And so just try to find a balance between your culture and the culture of the new country that you are. And always remember there are opportunities out there. There are so many opportunities you can tap into. If you don't get overwhelmed by the initial challenges, you know, if you can look beyond that, there are opportunities out there.
Thank you. That's very good. That's very good advice for many people thinking about that. So I'm thinking, Sharing Our Cultures, we work with a lot of youth, high school youth, junior and senior high school youth. And sometimes I see them struggling with that balance, right? Because the parents want them to maintain the traditional culture, and yet they're in schools and in communities where they also want to fit in. How, in a practical way, can they balance that? What would you suggest? What do you think? I mean, how are you helping your children navigate that balance of keeping your traditional culture and the new culture?
Yeah, I feel a lot has to do, the parents have a lot to play in this because they need to be intentional about it. It's a lot of work, right? I speak my language, my husband and I, we speak our language to our children right from when they were young. I feel like, you know, parents here are so busy that we give up after a while, right? So you don't give up, you know, and you have to keep educating the children as well, letting them know about your identity, your cultural, you know, cultural identity, where they are from, things we accept, because there's a lot of struggle for those young ones. For instance, in my culture, we're not big on sleepovers. It was never a thing. Sleepovers, you sleep over at maybe an uncle's house or auntie's house. But right now, I've heard so many young people complain that my parents don't want me to go for sleepovers. So it's just something you have to navigate, you know, and communicate to your children why so things are not allowed. And parents too need to be flexible. For me too, I'm not big on sleepovers. You can go for play dates, then come back home to sleep, So those are the things that this youth struggle with. But communication is very key. So many of this youth, they want to know why, not just don't do it. They want to see reason why I shouldn't do it. So parents have a big role to play in this, and trying to communicate to the children the why they do what they are doing and the importance to the children. But I feel like it's something that would take time and a lot of patience as well.
Yeah.
And for the youth, listen to your parents.
Good advice.
I don't think they want to hear that, but your parents, but
Yeah.
I mean, in saying that, just have a balanced talk, there should be communication between parents and children. Yeah.
I agree with you. The communication is actually key.
Right.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Oh, my, I've enjoyed the conversation. Time's gone by so quickly. Thank you so much for being with us, and all the best in your completing your program.
Thank you.
And we can't wait to see what you're going to do in for our province after you finish. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome. And Sharing Our Cultures will be right back.
Your opinion matters, and we want to hear from you. Get in touch with us using our viewer feedback line, your direct connection to shaping the shows you love. It's easy. Just grab your phone, scan the QR code on your screen, and take our quick survey. Share your thoughts, and let's make your viewing experience even better.
Thanks to Jumi for sharing her experiences with us, and thanks to you for watching. Join us again for another episode of Sharing Our Cultures and learn about many others who are making a difference in Newfoundland and Labrador.
Come together, you and me. Come together right now for all the world to see. Come together.